Morning to all of you. Our respected Chairperson, Sir, Dr. Anil Sekia, Sir, Chairperson of this National Workshop Organizing Committee. Respected Dr. Orojudi Chaudhary, Sir, Registrar of Kekihandik State Open University. Respected Professor Bhagirathi Panda, Sir, Honorable Director of ICSS, Sir, NERC Shillong. Invited guest, Dr. Pranjit Kumar Nath, Sir, Principal, R.G. Barua College. Respected Dr. Utpal Sharma, Sir, Principal of Golaghat Commerce College. Respected Dr. Ojit Brakotagi, Sir, Principal of Beltola College. Respected participants and all the members of this National Workshop Organizing Committee, a very good morning of you. I, on behalf of the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, welcome you all to this inaugural program of the 7 days long National Workshop on Governance and Development, organized by the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research in collaboration with Kekihandik State Open University and in association with Golaghat Commerce College. Now, may I request Professor Josna Hazarika, Madam, member of this organizing committee, to initiate the inaugural session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dipendas. So good morning to all of you. First of all, a very warm welcome and namaskar to all the respected dignitaries and the participants present here in our this virtual platform. I, on behalf of Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, Professor Josna Hazarika of D.B. Charan Barua Girls College, I'm the moderator of this week-long ICSSR NERC-sponsored national workshop. It is being titled as Governor and the Development Scenario in Northeast India, Sustainability and Ethnic Issues. I, on behalf of all of you, welcome you all to this virtual platform. Well, through my privilege, I want to initiate the inaugural session. Now, may I request Dr. Anil Sekia, sir, to deliver his welcome address. And I'm fortunate enough today, this morning, to my knowledge, Dr. Anil Sekia, sir, is a member of the General Council of Sangeet Natak Academy under Ministry of Culture, Government of India, and he is the retired principal of our college. Besides, he is even the president of our Center for Ethnic Studies and Research. So we are fortunate enough having you here, sir, in our this virtual platform. So now the platform is yours, and may I request you to give your welcome speech.
Thank you, Josna. Yes, thank you, Josna Hazarika.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, it is my nice opportunity to welcome this inaugural session. Yes, the topic is governance and development scenery in Northeast India. The workshop is organized by Center for Ethnic Studies and Research in collaboration with Krishna Kanda State Open University. And at the very outset, I should welcome his present or no idea. By Krishna Kanda University Open University. Speech Professor Bhagirathi Panda, Professor Economics, and Honorary Director ICSSR NERC, Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary, Registrar Krishna Kanda Khandigo State Open University, Ojit Brakotagi, Beltola College, Principal Beltola College, Dr. Pranjit Kumar Nath, Principal R.G. Barua College, I think he is present. Dr. Utpal Sharma, Principal Golaghat Commerce College. Dr. Pranav Sekia, I think he is also present. Director IQST, Krishna Kanda Khandiko State Open University. And our President, CSR President Pramod Sharma. I think he is also present. And Dr. Dipen Das, chief organizer of this workshop, and esteemed participant from the various corner of the state and nations. We all know that governance refers to the activities of all the political and administrative authorities to govern the country. Good governance aims to fulfill the opinions of the society, especially the minorities, listening to the voice of the oppressed people in process of decision making and to execute activities to which fulfill the basic needs of the society. Yes, let me introduce Center for Ethnic Studies and Research. The center is established in 2015. Since the date of inception, the center organized as many as 40 webinars, especially in the COVID times. One international workshop on governance and development in global perspective, and national workshop on human rights and education, and publish half-yearly periodicals, peer-reviewed journal on humanity and social science. So many research work are published in this journal. Moreover, it conducted workshop on folk dance and published as many as 7 research books. Yes, the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research in the last 7 years or 8 years did a lot for the society. And it is my opportunity to welcome all the dignitaries of various corners of the state and nations to this workshop. Yes, I again welcome all of you in this warm morning. Thank you to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, thank you, sir, for your presentation and your encouraging and valuable speech given to our esteemed participants. Now, may I request Professor Bhaskar Kapoti to be on the platform. And I'm today at this very outset in this morning, I'm really I felt a little bit think that our inaugurator was supposed to be Professor Rajendra Prasad Das, Vice Chancellor, Krishnakanta Hendek Open University, but due to some unavoidable reason, probably sir couldn't be a part of us among us today this morning as an inaugurator. So may I request Honorable Respected Arup Jyoti Chaudhary sir to be in the platform as an inaugurator of our session for this week-long workshop, national workshop today. And Professor Bhaskar Kakoti will give a brief introduction on Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary sir. May I request Professor Bhaskar Kakoti?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. May I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Bhaskar Kakoti, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Baghat Commerce College, and joint coordinator of this 7 days national workshop. I take this privilege to introduce before you one of the largest, learned, and most respectful person in recent years, and we invite his as a guest of honor today. He is respected Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary sir, and presently he is in the position of Honorable Register Krishnakanta Hendek State Open University, the first and rapidly growing open and higher education institution of Assam. Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary sir have a bright academic career and published a number of research papers in national and international arena. I feel proud to introduce before you all the respected Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary sir as a guest of honor, and I take the privilege to hand over Professor Urujiti sir to this platform. Professor Urujiti sir, Chaudhary sir.
Thank you. A very, very good morning to all of you. Professor Anil Hoikia sir, Professor Panda, Regional Director, ICSSR, NERC, Shillong, and the eminent personalities present. First of all, I would like to state that this program was supposed to have been inaugurated by Professor R.P. Das, Vice Chancellor of Krishnakanto Handik State Open University. However, because of an online immediate and urgent meeting with a regulatory agency, that Professor Das could not come to the platform. He has requested me to do the needful on his part. I am very, very happy to be here as part of the inaugural ceremony of the 7-day national workshop on governance and development scenario in Northeast India. As you all know, this program has been organized by Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, CESR Guwahati, in collaboration with Krishnakanto Handik State Open University, Khanapara, Guwahati, as well as in association with the Golaghat Commerce College, Golaghat, Assam. Here you see the main emphasis of the workshop would be on two major issues. One is governance and the other is development. Both are intimately related to each other and one another. Here you see whether it is a democratic country, whether it is an authoritarian system, in all kinds of systems, political and administrative, governance is integrally connected to that of development process. In fact, even in those countries having a predominance of market economy like United States of America, the significance and the importance of governance cannot be ruled out. In those countries, governance is done by the administration mainly as a facilitator. Facilitator for what? Facilitation is done for the ultimate purpose of development. Coming to that of the socialist or the authoritarian countries to say, even in those countries, we have a stricter governmental regime, and even these regimes are directly or indirectly connected to that of the process of development. Therefore, it is a right decision on the part of the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research to lay emphasis on governance and development, two crucial issues in the public domain, and to emphasize their respective role in the body politic. I am very happy to associate our university with such a noble cause. I wish this workshop all success, and as per the instruction of Professor R.P. Das, I do hereby inaugurate the 7-day workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for delivering your valuable speech. And dear esteemed participants present here in our platform today, our respected Urujiti Chaudhary sir has explained well about our topic, which is governments and development scenario in Northeast sustainable and ethnic issues. He has just said about its emphasis to be given of governments and development, specifically to the Northeast India, to our knowledge. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Nice to see you, sir, but your video was off. I couldn't see you.
Okay.
Sir, if you possible, better give a look to all the participants.
Yes.
Our morning will be bright enough then. To all the esteemed, respected participants present here in this platform, I'm Jyotsna Hajarika. I was a student of sir in Cotton College. So I want to see sir here. So I want to take the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, the week-long workshop is fortunate enough having our honorary director, ICSSR NERC Shillong, Professor Bhagirathi Panda sir, among us today. I hope Panda sir is present here. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here itself.
Okay, sir. Have a nice day. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Well, now, may I take the opportunity to introduce Professor Bhagirathi Panda, Professor in Economics, to our participants. Professor Panda was the Dean of the School of Economics Management and Information Science and head of the Department of Economics, Nehru, Shillong. During 2008 to 2009, he was also the faculty of IIM Shillong. Professor Panda is an Asian Fellow of Asian Scholarship Foundation, Bangkok, and also he worked as a visiting fellow in Thammasmod University, Thailand, and Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, during 2003. He is quite efficient enough, having quite a large numbers of publications. More than 50 research articles are already published in different national and international journals. Professor Panda was also a member of expert committee formed by Ministry Rural Development, Government of India on MGNREGA. Well, this is a brief introduction about Professor Panda. Now, may I request sir to deliver his keynote address to our week-long workshop. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jyotsna. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. May I know before I start, actually, I think any time limit you have kept for my lecture? Maybe.
This is the inaugural session, so I think you are, you know about it. So you can give your time.
Okay.
So that
I'm going to say 25, 30 minutes, 30 minutes.
it's okay, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. I think your voice is breaking in between. Anyway, so let me just try maybe around 30 minutes to finish it off. I hope that will do.
It
Is
will
that
do, sir.
okay?
It's okay.
Okay, thank you so much. So once again, Dr. Jyotsna, Dr. Anil Saikia, Dr. Dipen, and especially Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary, the respected registrar of KK Hendick State University. It's a pleasure, and I think Professor Chaudhary has already given us a lot of thoughts, particularly on this very topic that the center has chosen for deliberation for this week-long deliberation. And I would take therefrom, and I would like to concentrate on, of course, on these two important topics, which are governance and development, and try to contextualize them, and then speak something about development, and particularly sustainable development, and different dimensions of sustainable development, the state of sustainable development in the Northeast, and how governance is directly and indirectly related with sustainable development, and what best could be done to improve our sustainable development by improving upon governance, what you can say, performances or governance, particularly the enabling role of government in terms of governance. So can I share my screen? If you can give me permission, let me share my screen. Can I share my screen just now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can. Okay. Okay. Let me just see. Now, you have to enable. It says host has disabled screen sharing. Can you please? Yeah. Can you please to share my screen? No, it hasn't been enabled yet. So whenever I click on screen sharing, it says the host as disabled. Yeah, now it's happening. Okay. Okay. Just a minute. Just is it visible? Is it visible, Dr. Josna?
No, sir. No, sir.
It's not yet, no? Okay. Let me see. Oh, I think there is some problem. It's not coming off. Just open it up and then hopefully it can come. Is anything visible there? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's visible.
Is it visible now? I hope it's visible now.
It's visible, sir?
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
So let me start with, I start with a brief introduction of this evolution in this concept of economic development. How economic development has evolved as a concept, as a practice, right from, let's say, for example, 1930-40 to what is today, in the context of the developing countries, and particularly our own country and the northeastern region for that matter. So development has evolved from singularly being identified as or conceptualized as economic growth, I think up to 1930s or during 1930s. So in 30s or up to 1930s, economic development was simply being understood as economic growth, which simply meant a continuous rise in the per capita income of a country. Or in other words, if the real national income of a country is growing, then a country is experiencing growth as well as development. So growth and development were synonymous up to 1930s. But then subsequently, I think things changed. The dimensions of development, I would say, they kept on changing. So it evolved from singularly being identified with economic growth to what we today call sustainable development. I don't want to go to all these decades and to the processes and the ideas, through which actually it has come to be named as sustainable development today, because that would take a lot of time. But suffice would be this much to say that today the concept of development is identified with sustainable development. And when we talk about sustainable development, I think all of us are aware of this fact that broadly it has three important dimensions: the economic dimension, the social dimension, and the environmental dimension. When it comes to the economic dimension of development, or for that matter, sustainable development, as we call it today, it all speaks about or emphasizes often this very process activity of creating income in terms of producing goods and services in an economy. So I think for development to happen and continue, get consolidated, generation of more income in terms of producing goods and services is a must. That's the fundamental requirement of the very process of development in any society. But then that's not enough. Countries may continue to earn more of income, create more of income, produce more of goods and services, but then that's not, I think, the only dimension through which one could understand and conceptualize and realize development. So there is a social dimension to sustainable development. And that's all about, so when you talk about this social dimension, precisely it refers to the process of participation of people in development. It's more about that the practice of participation, the practice of forming social networks, the practice of having different kind of social networks and forming social capital, and through that playing that enabling role to reduce different kind of conflicts, different kind of inequalities, different kind of inequalities, particularly in the opportunity space in any society. So that's all about the social dimension of sustainable development. Wherein actually one thing is very special here itself, as we all understand, that development is not all about only creating income. It's also equally important how that income is created and subsequently also distributed in the society. So the distribution aspect, the participation aspect, the social capital creation aspect, and then that harmony, that that spirit of equality and the practice of equality, they are greatly important when it comes to the social dimension of sustainable development. And the third dimension happens to be the environmental dimension. And when we talk about the environmental dimension, it precisely refers to what you call two things. One is the need to undertake development without compromising the requirements of the posterity. That's one dimension. The other thing is having or undertaking developmental or growth activities without, I think, without critically damaging our physical environment. So in these two aspects, you can all understand the environmental dimension of sustainable development. Now, along with this evolution in the concept of economic development from growth to sustainable development, the very approach to development has also evolved. When development was singularly being identified with economic growth, that is in terms of creation of more of real national income for a country or for a society, I think the basic approach to development was, as we all understand, the income approach. That means income was panacea to everything. Income is a proxy to everything. If your income is increasing, you are continuing to have more of income, then that through that income, you can achieve any other dimensions of development, or you can say things or entitlements which a kind of a fulfilling life requires. So that's the kind of approach I think which developmental practitioners all across the world they brought in and they started conceptualizing and also suggesting developmental practices based on this kind of approach called the income approach. But subsequently, I think through our own experiences across many of the developed countries and precisely the developing countries all across the world, it was realized that I think creation of income is not everything, and income is not an entitlement to every every other entitlements to have a fulfilling life. And that's why I think the approach through different phases has changed from income approach to capability approach, wherein I think our own economist, Amartya Sen, I think he has contributed a lot. He is the pioneer of bringing in this hypothesis of capability expansion to development, which is now also considered very critically all across the world when it comes to analyzing development, analyzing poverty, and giving policy formulation, giving policy support and policy formulations to overcome some of these challenges of what you call underdevelopment. So to Amartya Sen, development is all about expanding the capability vector of individuals and communities. He says fundamentally underdevelopment or its continuity is not basically because of lack of income. It's primarily because of what he says, capability deprivation. I think there is capability deprivation in individuals, there is capability deprivation in societies. So, income is just a means, it's not an end. Whereas I think in the neoclassical approach to economic development, which was predominant, I think up to 1940s, income was being seen the be-all and end-all of any developmental activity, developmental process. Whereas, today, when Sen defines development in terms of capability expansion of individuals and societies, he talks about capability expansion of individuals being the end of development and income being one of the critical means to realize that objective of expanded capability for individuals and societies. So capability expansion, I think, is crucial, is more important compared to income. In the words of in the writings of Amartya Sen. That's why today we try to understand, we try to conceptualize, we try to experiment also in terms of developmental practices. This very idea of capability expansion, in economics of development, and then making use of this concept and applying it in terms of practice, in terms of policy formulation, developmental processes. I think there have been the development processes have been much more made dynamic today and much more realistic today. So that's the evolution when it comes to the approach to economic development. And along with the evolution in the concept of development and also approach to development, the third thing which has significantly happened is the evolution in the establishment space. When I say establishment space, establishment simply refers to the critical institutions through which development or the process of development gets realized. So establishment space basically refers to those kind of critical institutions through which I think the process of development gets unfolded and realized, practiced. Here itself, I think societies, countries, they have evolved right from 1930s or before 1930s, wherein market was the predominant, or you can say the only important establishment space in economic development. That means the basic functions of an economy, allocation of resources, distribution of resources, growth, exchange, all these important activities in an economy or in a society predominantly were being carried out by the all-important institution of market. But then gradually, I think countries, particularly when many of the countries got their political emancipation from the colonial masters in the 40s, late 40s, 50s, then they realized that market cannot be and could not be the important institution I think, to promote accelerated development and particularly to overcome the challenges of economic ills like poverty, inequality, lack of infrastructure, lack of empowerment, etc., etc. So that's why the establishment space or the critical institutions through his development process needs to be realized. I think that has evolved from market to government, and from government subsequently to community. And today, when you scan through the developmental process and find out the actors who are the important actors in the, I think taking care of this development process, you see you have market, you have government, you have also community, and very recently the civil society in a very limited way has also entered into development space. So the establishment space also has, I think has got expanded, and it has evolved from singularly being identified with market today to a combination of market, government, community, and civil society, although in different degrees present. Now, having said that, this is the, I think, this is the background against which I think we need to understand in terms of data, in terms of information, in terms of actual practices where the country and particularly northeastern region stands. Now, I have given you a very brief understanding of the concept of sustainable development. Now, many countries all across the world, including ours one also very recently, we have come up with an index called the Sustainable Development, SDG Index, Sustainable Development Goal Index. Niti Aayog, for example, for our country has come out with this kind of an exercise, although it's an exercise in making. It's not, right now, it's not very full-fledged, because with every passing year, we experience newer things, and we would like to also, you can say, make it the construction of the index. We would like to make it more efficient and more inclusive. But then that's a learning experience. But as it stands actually today, the latest Sustainable Development Goal Index, SDG Index 2021 has been released by the Niti Aayog. And when we, this, I know, as many of you may be knowing, this index, has 15 dimensions. Okay. And although, I think for the whole world and for the country, there are 17, 2 of the dimensions are not relevant for the Northeast. That's why when it comes to the Northeast, I have only taken 15 dimensions which are related to Northeast, and try to show you the position of different states of Northeast, I think, in that index itself. As you can see from the screen, the data are very much evident. You can see this is the overall index value. You can see on the right, in the right side of the column, you can see SDG Index 2021. You see, for the whole country, the SDG Index value is 66, whereas you can see for almost, I think, for 6 states, Assam, Arunachal, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, and Tripura. For 6 states, the SDG index value, I think, is less than the country's average. That means 6 of the northeastern states out of the 8 are having SDG index values which are less or lower than the countries. That itself speaks of the fact that when it comes to the overall, I think, overall, value of sustainable development measured in terms of this index, 6 of the states in the Northeast, I think they have to do a lot. I think, if at all, at least to reach the Indian average. That's one thing which is very clear here itself. Now, let me go to the specific dimensions, all these 15 dimensions that I talked about it. And as you can see here itself, the bottom line here is that out of these, 15 dimensions, as you can see here itself, in 11 dimensions, Northeastern region is having critical deficit, as you can see, except poverty and zero hunger dimension. In all other poverty, zero hunger, and then responsible consumption and production and climate action. I think, excluding these 4 dimensions, in the rest of the dimensions, as you can see, the Northeast is critically below, or I think it is critically below the national average. As you can see, when it comes to good health and well-being, I think 7 of the states are below the, what you call the national average. Quality education, 5 of the states. Gender equality, 4 of the states, almost 50% of the states. Clean water and sanitation, 50% of the states. Affordable and clean energy, 50% of the states. Decent work and economic growth, I think 6 of the states. And industry, innovation and infrastructure, I think this is one of the important, you can say, indicator when it comes to economic growth. And here you see all the 8 states, I think, are below the national average. Similarly, in terms of inequality or reduced inequality, 4 of the states, 50% of the states. Sustainable cities and communities, out of 8 states, 7 states are below the national average. So, what we get from these indices is that, when it comes to sustainable development dimensions, in 11 dimensions, I think the Northeast shows, critical deficit compared to the country. And particularly on the industry, innovation and infrastructure dimension, as you can see, and sustainable cities and communities, and similarly peace, justice, and strong institutions, which are basically governed. I think governance has a lot to do here itself. And in many of these dimensions, the Northeast, I think, ranks below the national average. Now, having said that, one more slide actually, I think, made things very clear when it comes to SDG dimensions for the Northeast vis-a-vis the country. And here you can see, the most important state of the Northeast, I think, as you can see, Assam, for example, in 13 dimensions, I think it ranks below the national average. As you can see, Arunachal in 10, Meghalaya in 10, Tripura 9, Manipur 8, Nagaland 8. So I think only Mizoram and the Sikkim, then they are ranked, I think, comparatively better. Whereas the rest of the states, I think, as I said, 6 of the states are ranked much below the national average. And there itself, the situation for Assam, Arunachal, and Meghalaya, I think is even worse. So that you can all see from this slide. So this is all your 3-4 slides, I think, maps out the relative position of the Northeast when it comes to some of the important dimensions of sustainable development as given by Niti Aayog in its SDG Index 2021. That itself, I think, is an eye opener that when it comes to sustainable development as a whole and different dimensions of sustainable development, the Northeast has to do a lot. Having said that, let me now come to, I think, the basic sources of economic growth and development. This is required because governance, subsequently, I would bring in government and governance into developmental space and into the developmental process by, giving you this kind of an insight. The very what you call it. This is also an evolution when it comes to the sources of economic growth and development. Now, in up to 1930s and 40s, I think, I think many of the developmental practitioners or economists who have gone through that, those kind of literature, they must be aware of the fact that, capital or savings was considered to be the most important source of economic growth. And when we are all students, we are all being taught those theories, those axioms, those principles, models that economic growth and development can happen if a country can invest, can bring in more of capital, create more of savings and invest it. So development was being made out to be a function of fundamentally of savings or capital. So capital deficiency was considered to be the prime reason for continuity and perpetuation of underdevelopment in many of the developing countries. Subsequently, I think the source was, also increased, I think expanded from capital to capital plus technology, and then from capital plus technology to human capital. The role of, education, skill formation, etc. also subsequently were brought in into the, to the expanded source of economic growth and development. And I think, we have seen a number of theories and a number of developmental practices also, which were grounded, which have contributed to the formation of effective developmental policies all across the country, including our own country also. For example, in the 80s, in the late 50s and early 60s, we had a lot of steel plants coming up in our country through government participation all across different parts of our country in the public sector, like Bhilai, Rourkela steel, Durgapur, all kinds of those steel plants. Has this screen gone out? Is the screen there? I think I just get a message that the host disabled participation screen sharing. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Visible?
Yes, sir.
And why did I get this message? The screen. Okay, let me just go there. Yeah. So is it visible to all of you? Is it visible to all of you? Tell me. Is it
No, sir. No, sir. No, now it is not visible. Your presentation, your window is not visible.
not visible? No. Okay, just let me see. Why it's
No
not.
PPT.
Is it now visible?
PPT is not visible, sir.
Not visible. No. Okay, just a minute. I think. Let me just see. Okay. Just see, is it visible now? Oh, no. Just
The page is not visible.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yes.
window is
Thing
here.
is visible, yes.
Okay.
Is it visible
Yes,
now?
it is visible, sir.
Okay, I think something happened there itself. Okay. So I was talking about the sources of economic growth. And today, in the contemporary developing economies, this basic, so I think the basic sources of economic development, they have expanded. And although we require capital, technology, and also human capital, but in addition to that, actually, one source which is assuming a lot of importance, particularly in the context of countries like ours, and that too in the Northeast, happens to be the source of what we call institutions. Okay, I will just give you one example in the context of Northeast. Many times, look at actually how institutions, and for that matter, governance and government, how they are very, very important today when it comes to promote rapid and efficient development in this part of the country, in the Northeast. Now, it's not about capital deficiency. Today, the Northeastern region doesn't lack capital. I'm talking about in terms of savings. The CD ratio, in economics, we have a concept called CD ratio, credit to deposit ratio. The credit to deposit ratio for the Northeast for the last 25 to 30 years stands at around 33 to 35%, 33 to 34%. That means out of every 100 rupees that the banks mobilize in the Northeast, only 34 rupees is given as loan, as credit to entrepreneurs and others, whereas the rest amount, it goes from Northeast for investment in other parts of the country. That means out of every 100 rupees that the banks mobilize as savings, they do have with them as savings, only 34 rupees is given in terms of credit, in terms of loan in this part of the country. In the lion's part of that savings that the banks mobilize, it goes to other parts of the country for investment. So capital deficiency being identified as the only reason for economic underdevelopment in this part of the country doesn't hold true. It's not, I think to that extent, it's not very relevant today. So we have capital, we have savings, but then it's not getting, I think it's not being invested. So the problem is not with respect to not having money, capital or savings. Money is there, but the problem is that that money is not getting invested in this part of the country. And that's not basically happening because there's a disconnect. You ask the bankers, why are you not giving loans to the young entrepreneurs for investment to undertake entrepreneurial activities? The banks would say, no, I think we don't have demand. There is no demand. For them, demand means, I think someone should have not only the willingness, but also the ability, the capability, the hypothecation, dimension whenever loans are being advanced. So because the collateral is not there, the hypothecation aspect is not taken care of, the property rights are not well defined. So that's why the banks are reluctant to, I think, advance loans to many of the young entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. So here, and you ask the young aspiring entrepreneurs, many of them would say, no, we are ready, I think, to undertake entrepreneurial activity, but the banks are not ready to give us loans. So here is a disconnect. Money is there, youngsters are there to undertake investment activity, but savings is not getting, I think, transformed to investment. Precisely, if it's not having, the disconnect is precisely because of institutional factors. These institutional factors could be the property rights are not well defined. Many places, tribal societies, the property rights are not well defined. Then the other is governance factors. Can I just request organizers to ask participants to unmute themselves? To mute themselves. A lot of background noise is coming. Yeah. Can I just request the organizers, Dipen or Dr. Josna, just to ask some of the participants to mute themselves?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just
hello, participants, respected participants, please mute your phone. Yes, hello. The person who is speaking.
I can see there is somebody, Kaveri Sharma.
Kaveri Sharma. Mute your phone.
I think it's from Kaveri Sharma, somebody.
Okay. It's just disturbing the entire session.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. Thank you. It's okay now. So what I was talking about is about the role of institutions in economic development. Today, you may be having enough of capital, you may be having technology, or you may be having, let's say, for example, human capital in terms of educated manpower or skilled manpower also. But if the institutional arrangements are not playing that enabling role, you have governance deficits, the property rights are not well defined, the cost of negotiation is very high in the context of the Northeast, the cost of enforcement of contracts is also comparatively higher. There is law and order problem. There is, let's say, for example, deficiency in other dimensions of governance in terms of playing that enabling role, particularly starting from getting a license and then, facilitating in terms of getting different kind of inputs or getting those kind of subsidies. So these factors are more important today when it comes to promote economic development in this part of the country. So what I just wanted to give you this derivation that one of the most important source of economic development in this part of the country today is not only capital. Underdevelopment is still continuing in this part of the country. It's not basically because of lack of capital or technology, primarily or critically. It's primarily or fundamentally because of institutional deficiencies. And the moment we come down to institutions, definitely, the government is one of the most critical institutions when it comes to development, to take care of development. That's why, although there are formal institutions, there are informal institutions. So I'm not going to discuss everything here itself. I'll just impress upon this fact that today, compared to any other part of our country, I'm saying in the Northeast, development fundamentally becomes a function of institutional efficiency. Although capital, technology, human capital, infrastructure, they are required, and in fact they are required, and they would always continue to be there itself. But because the institutional arrangement is not efficient, and here itself primarily because of the governance arrangement is not, I think, that much enabling, that's the reason for which I think development is not getting accelerated in this part of the country, and we continue to be entrapped by underdevelopment in this part of the country. So having said that, I think let me now just touch upon governance. I think another 4 or 5 minutes I will end it off. I think we all understand governance, and there is a basic difference between government and governance. Government, I think, let me just give an example. When government itself becomes a producer, when it produces goods and services like telecom services, or it produces any transport services, electricity services, tourism services. So when government provides this kind of services or produces different kinds of goods, here the government itself becomes a producer. Here it's government. Whereas when the government plays that enabling role in terms of facilitating, getting easily a license, in terms of providing, I think, different kind of facilities in terms of different kind of provisions, to citizens to realize better their entitlements of life. So that is called governance. So governance is all about that enabling role that government itself plays. It's all about the regulatory system also. For example, government itself may not produce goods and services, but it can take up this role of a good, enabler by means of, regulating the production, the consumption, and the distribution of many of the goods and particularly the services in an economy. So that's where governance becomes important. Maintaining, I think, efficient law and order is an important governance, arrangement. So in that way, actually, we understand government and governance. Now, I will skip this one. I'll just finally touch upon, we economists always try to, what we call measure, quantify, I think, activities, developmental, you can say developmental proceeds, or for that matter, what you call different dimensions of development, always try to quantify. And similarly, for that matter, development, and for that matter also governance. Although quantifying governance is a very, very complex process. It's not that easy. It has a lot of qualitative variables also. But then efforts have recently been made by the government of India to bring out some kind of an index which can measure good governance in the country. It all started in the year 2019, and every 2 years this index comes in, and the latest index that we do have with us is for the year 2021. And here you can see, I have just presented it itself for the whole Northeast. You can see the index value, that is good governance index value. And here you can see, for all the Northeastern states for 2020-21, as you can see, Arunachal, and this index value is out of 10. Okay, out of 10, states are ranked in that order. And you see, when it comes to Northeast, most of the Northeastern states are below many of the countries in our western or northern or southern parts of our country. And you can see Arunachal's value is one of the lowest in the country. It's only 2.84 when it comes to governance. Assam, little better, 4.04. And then Manipur, 3.49, Meghalaya, 3.48, Mizoram, 4.87, and Nagaland, 3.62. So as you can see, most of the Northeastern states are having a governance, good governance index value, which is lower than many of the other states in different other regions of our country. For example, in 2020-21, Gujarat was having the highest, good governance index value, which was 5.56. And even if you compare the Northeastern states with the other hill states of our country, those figures are also here itself. Just see for Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh good governance index value is 5.08, which is pretty good. And similarly, Uttarakhand also is much better compared to many of the Northeastern states, 4.84. So what this table shows that even when it comes to governance, and if it is measured in terms of an index, which of course has 10 dimensions, from 10 dimensions, 160 or something like that indicators, this index has been created. But then it all shows that a lot needs to be done when it comes to, the governance situation in the Northeast as being reflected from this index value. And the other thing is that actually governance, as I said, institutions have a lot to do when it comes to economic growth, economic development, and particularly in the context of the Northeast. And you can see, as it stands today, everything is not good when it comes to economic growth also. Here also, as you can see, the All India average, average annual growth rate for the period 2012 to 19 I have taken. You can see the Indian average is almost like 7%, 6.95. Whereas many of the states in the Northeast, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, they are much below the national average. So a lot needs to be done when it comes to economic growth per se. And the another just index I would like to show, then I will end it off. There is very recently NITI Aayog is coming up with the innovation index. It talks about the situation of innovation in every state and region of the country. And here itself also, I think when it comes to innovation, government has to do a lot and governance has to do a lot. States which are doing much better in the innovation index score, I think, are securing a higher score in innovation index, much of the credit goes to the government in these states. Whereas when you look at the Northeastern states, most of the Northeastern states, the innovation index score, although this has a caveat, the larger states cannot be compared exactly with the smaller states. With that caveat, I am just presenting here itself for the innovation index score value for the northeastern states. And you can see here itself, except Sikkim, for example, or to some extent Manipur, the rest of the states actually are much below the Indian average when it comes to the innovation index score. That itself is also a fact which indirectly establishes the fact that governance hasn't delivered to the extent it should have delivered for promoting development in northeastern parts of the country. I think finally, let me end off by saying this much, that what's the way out? The way out is to have some kind of a seamless convergence of the four important stakeholders in the development space in the Northeast. One is the market. In fact, we need market. We cannot totally, I think, rule out the market's involvement in the process of development. We do need them. They are required. Market is required. Government, of course, government is required. But then what's required from the government is that to have that critical benchmarked quality government and governance, both. I'm emphasizing both government and governance, both. And then community, and then civil society. And it's the responsibility more of the government to bring in the other three important stakeholders in the development space and to have some kind of a critical convergence so that the process of development gets much more accelerated in this part of the country. Till that, what we observe is that there is some kind of a parallelism existing amongst these four institutions: the government, the market, the civil society, the community. Many, in many, places, in many occasions, in many dimensions, they run parallel to each other. What's required is that critical, seamless convergence. I think with these words, I thank the organizers, particularly Dipen, Dr. Josna, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my own thinkings on this very subject. Thank you so much. And now the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Dear esteemed participant, our respected Panda sir, being the guest of being a keynote speaker. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay. Being a keynote speaker of our week-long workshop, I hope all the participants has learned a lot from his valuable speech, which he has delivered on various dimensions. Specifically, he has mentioned on 15 numbers of dimensions on economic policies and the sustainability related to Northeast India as well, sustainable development of Northeast India. And he even analyzed a lot of part of it. And finally, I hope all the participants has even heard his valuable speech on which will help them to be a part of this workshop for the entire week. And I extend my thanks and gratitude to Panda sir for giving his valuable speech on as being a keynote speaker. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So we want to proceed to our next program.
So can I leave now, Dr. Josna and Dr. Dipen? Can I take your permission to leave the platform?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for your kind cooperation. And hope to see you next in our Center for Ethnic Studies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. And all the best.
You're
All the
welcome.
best for the next of the sessions.
Thank you. So now may I request Dr. Utpal Sharma sir, Principal Golaghat College. Probably sir is present here in our virtual platform. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. A very good day for you. A very good day, sir. Yes, that's
Thank you.
good. Yes, sir. Sir, we are here to hear you from you a few words of inspiration for the week-long workshop, which is going on up in the air. So you're welcome, sir, to the platform, and you may address to the participants. Thank you so much, sir. A few kind words from your side.
Thank you. Respected Chairperson, Dr. Anil Saikia, sir, and respected keynote speaker, Professor Bhagirathi Pandey, sir, respected Registrar, Professor Arup Jyoti Chaudhary, sir, all the respected invited guests and esteemed participants. It is an honor and pleasure for me to be a part of this workshop. And the topic is a very significant and important one, governance and development in Northeast India, with a focus on sustainability and ethnic issues. It plays a crucial role in shaping the region's trajectory. Northeast India is known for its ethnic diversity, unique cultures, and fragile ecosystems. Balancing sustainable development with the preservation of ethnic identities and addressing ethnic issues is essential for ensuring long-term prosperity and harmony in the region. Coming to the first point, that is governance and sustainability. Sustainability is closely linked to effective governance in Northeast India. The region's rich biodiversity, fragile ecosystems, and unique natural resources require strong governance mechanisms to ensure their preservation. Governments at various levels need to formulate and implement policies that promote sustainable practices, conservation, and environmental protection. This includes measures to address deforestation, promote renewable energy sources, manage water resources, and mitigate the impact of development projects on the environment. Effective governance frameworks that prioritize sustainability considerations help in balancing economic development with environmental protection, ensuring long-term well-being of the region. Then coming to the next part, that is governance and ethnic issues. Ethnic issues in Northeast India have direct impact on governance structures and processes. The region's diverse ethnic communities often have unique socio-cultural identities, historical grievances, and demands for self-governance or autonomy. Inclusive ethnic groups are crucial for maintaining peace, social harmony, and trust. Governments need to address the concerns for marginalized communities, ensure their meaningful participation in decision-making processes, and provide opportunities for socio-economic development that benefit all the ethnic groups. Failure to address ethnic issues can lead to social unrest, political instability, and hinder overall governance effectiveness. So development initiatives can have both positive and negative impacts on ethnic communities in Northeast India. On one hand, inclusive and sustainable development projects can contribute to poverty reduction, improve access to basic services, and enhance livelihood opportunities for marginalized communities. On the other hand, inadequate attention to specific needs and aspirations of ethnic groups can lead to marginalization, displacement, and cultural erosions. It is essential to ensure that development plans consider the socio-economic and cultural sensitivities of different ethnic communities, engage them in decision-making process, and promote equitable distribution of development benefits. Development that respects ethnic diversity and supports inclusive growth contributes to social cohesion and long-term stability in the region. In conclusion, sustainability and ethnic issues are closely intertwined with governance and development in Northeast India. Effective governance that prioritizes sustainability considerations and addresses ethnic concerns helps create an enabling environment for inclusive and equitable development. Conversely, development practices that integrate sustainability principles and respect ethnic diversity contribute to effective governance, social harmony, and long-term prosperity in the region. So I'd like to thank all the organizers for giving us an opportunity to be an associate partner of this workshop. I hope the workshop will be a great success. The deliberations of the resource persons will surely enlighten us. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Utpal Sharma, sir. He is the principal of Golaghat Commerce College, and Golaghat Commerce College is collaborating with us so much. Thank you very much for your collaboration, sir, and your valuable speech. Now, may I request Dr. Pranjit sir, principal, Barwa College, is guest of honor of our week-long workshop. Pranjit Kumar Nath, sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. You do photo to yes.
Nath, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, please grace the occasion with your valuable few words for our esteemed participants.
First of all, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I welcome to this ICSSR NERC sponsored 1 week interdisciplinary national workshop, governance and development scenario in Northeast India, sustainability and ethnic issues. First of all, I offer my sincere thanks and gratitude to Professor Dr. Anil Saikia sir, Professor Urujjoti Chaudhuri, Registrar KK Hendik State Open University, Professor Bhagirathi Panda, Director ICSSR, Northeast Regional Center, then Professor Utpal Sharma of Golaghat Commerce College, Principal Beltola College, Ojit Borkotoki, Dr. Josna Hazarika of DCB Girls College. So I offer my one congratulations to all of them for organizing this sort of, sensitized issues regarding discussions on these particular aspects. So while coming to the concept of this governance, I just want to share my idea, which basically includes the process of decision making and the process through which different aspects of development are implemented. Whenever we talk about the governance, it takes into consideration different paradigm, considering the corporate governance, national governance, international governance, local governance, etc., and so on. So basically, it considers the mechanism or process through which citizens and groups execute or articulate their interests, exercise their legal rights to meet different obligations as well as mandate related to different issues. Effective and accountable institutions are expected to perform better on issues ranging from economic growth to human development. Both governance and development are closely interconnected. Development requires appropriate government policies to improve human capital, to manage public requirements, as well as to guarantee the realization of human rights. Since the world today is getting its changes very rapidly, so development of science and technology influence a lot in our, day-to-day performance, as well as interactions that are taking place both at national and international level. So far governance is concerned, so we have to put these special issues related to the governance policy as well as the development policies that are closely connected with the development mechanism. Another aspects which are already being discussed by Professor Panda regarding the sustainable development and its different, index that are being used as a measuring rod for, for measuring the or execution of the development process. And finally, we have to take into consideration these ethnic issues in this particular area that government has put its emphasis regarding the NEP 2020. While talking about this NEP 2020, major highlights regarding the old days regime regarding the cognitive and non-cognitive issues, which we had already considered, or in our NEP 2020, it has been taken care. At present, we propose to inculcate our development process through sustainability. Development process in a sustainable way. And particularly in Northeast, we know ethnic issues are very, very crucial. And I think the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research will take its role as flag bearer to implement the entire policies incorporated in NEP 2020 to go in hand regarding the development process as well as governance procedure. And I think this, 7 days workshop will be fruitful in all range of discussions, where from different participants abroad will be taking part in this particular session. So I pray to the Almighty for successful completion as well as fruitful outcome, which will bring a, new message to the society as a result of this, holding this national workshop. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak these few words in this august platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really very wonderful hearing you, Dr. Pandit Kumar Nath, sir. Thank you so much. Now, may I request Dr. Ajit Borkotuki, sir, Principal, Beltola College, as an invited guest, giving us a bit of inspirational speech among the esteemed participants. Dr. Ajit Borkotuki, sir. Yes, sir. Are you there? Dr. Ajit Borkotuki, sir. Probably, sir, is not connected yet to our platform. It's almost about past 12:03. According to our schedule, inaugural session was from 10:30 to 11:45 a.m. And from 11:45 to 12, it was a tea break. So a bit, we have just passed a bit. So if Ajit Borkotuge sir is not connected to us at present, so I want to just extend my vote of thanks of this first inaugural session. So well, we have come to the end of the inaugural session. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I want to take the opportunity to extend my vote of thanks on behalf of Center for Ethnic Studies and Research to Dr. Anil Saikia sir, Chairperson, Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, who shared our platform beside his busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir. I wholeheartedly extend my regards and gratitude to Professor Orupjyoti Chaudhary sir. Besides his busy schedule, his gracious presence made our week-long workshops a blessing. Thank you so much, sir. And extending collaboration of Krishnakanta Hondikoy State Open University to us for the Center for Ethnic Studies. We are so grateful to you, sir. I even extend my gratitude to Professor Bhagirathi Panda, sir, Honorary Director, ICSSR and Northeast Research NERC, Shillong, giving his valuable hour as a keynote speaker today. And thank you so much, sir. I even extend my gratitude to Dr. Pranjal Kumar Nath, sir, who is the guest of honor and giving his valuable speech, Principal R.G. Barua College, being a part of our workshop today. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Al Utpal Sharma, Principal Golaghat College, extending his collaboration of his college to the Center for Ethnic Studies and Research. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Ajit Borkotuge, Principal, Peltola College, though he is a bit not connected with us today, but extending his presence as a invited guest. I thank you so much, sir. Last but not the least, our center of attraction, all our respected esteemed participants. I, on behalf of Center for Ethnic Studies and Research, extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you present in this virtual platform, with whom our workshop will be incomplete. Thank you once again. I wish best wishes for the week-long workshop, and all of you will have a wonderful time and activities during this week-long program. Thank you so much to all of you present here. So now it is almost 6:12. So it's a tea break. So we will be having a break of tea break for like 5 to 10 minutes, depend.
Okay, madam.
Yes.
Yeah.
If
So
we
we'll
have,
meet we'll meet for first technical session at 12:15.
12:15, it's okay.
Yeah. So we are also offering sincere thanks and gratitude to Jyotsna Hazarika Madam and Bhaskar Kakur sir as well for giving us your time to moderate this inaugural session. So thank you to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.